Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello, and welcome back to the channel where you join me on what is now, believe it or not, day 27 of this road trip. We're on the road today in Italy in the SLS Black Series with some pretty epic stops. Today, I would like to tell you though 5 things I love about this Shmeemobile, something I haven't done for a while but used to do with every car that I added to the garage. Today though, some pretty awesome things ahead. Let me take you on the journey as we travel through Italy in the SLS Black Series with 5 things I love about it. The day starts with this spectacular view. I couldn't not share it with you. A view out over the Mediterranean here in Italy. The car is actually in a garage down in town, but you can't drive up to where we are at the moment. So we need to head on over to it and get it loaded up for the drive that is ahead and start telling you the 5 things I love about the SLS Black Series. The first thing on this list is the cold start of the SLS Black Series. In this garage, it is going to sound insane. The car has a 6.2 litre naturally aspirated V8. Just unlock it very quickly, pop it open with the Centurion watch, and come and show you the engine before we fire it up, because in here, it is going to absolutely roar and scream into life. It's going to sound mega. But under here, of course, we had to do some of the paintwork when changing the colour, but this is the beast. This is what you don't find in a new car. Gigantic NA engines, which just sound unreal. Obviously, we've got the carbon fibre bonnet as well. Let me close this down, though, and come through, because it is all about the startup. We've loaded the car for the journey ahead. Take a seat inside, where, of course, the watch is the keyless starter. One press. Actually, we need to press again just to fully wake it up, and then it is time to take a listen to the cold start out of this car, which, believe me, is about to sound awesome. Check this out. Oh yes, that bark every time. Of course, when the car is warm, you don't get that, but that initial snap that you get out of it is by far and away one of the most epic things, because new cars have very soft, muted startups. This, with its massive engine, obviously sounds the absolute business. So that's easily the first thing that I love about the SLS Black Series. Something like that little Piaggio would be much better here. We are in a tiny little town, Monterosso in the Cinque Terre. Beautiful place, but not suited to silly cars like this. We've actually got to do a bit of a U-turn because we've got to go back on ourselves up there. So I'm going to come forwards and do that just here and do a turnaround instead. And then we will go find some nice twisty roads to enjoy. For the second item on my list of things that I love about this car, it has to be the way it drives. The driving dynamics of the SLS Black Series. This car has the chassis and suspension setup derived from the SLS AMG GT3 race car. So despite having a very heavy, very large engine up front, the balance and the turn-in is just brilliant. In fact, the way it's pinpoint sharp is more familiar with what you expect from a mid-engine supercar when the engine is behind you. The balance is just brilliant. The suspension at the front holds the weight perfectly, and it feels heavenly, especially on a glorious road like this. The SS1 towards Genova. We've got a beautiful view behind the trees just to the left, and of course the car sounds magnificent. Well, we're up here enjoying it, not necessarily going Mach 10. That's reserved for things like the Nürburgring, that kind of driving environment. But it just goes through these tight corners brilliantly. The steering ratio is tight, it's set up magnificently. Just completely a brilliant thing for road trip driving, for these kind of roads where we have magnificent tarmac and you just want it to go on and on and on forever. If you've been following for a while, you might recognise this one. I was parked in that exact spot in the 675 LT Spider 4 years ago to the day, this very date that I'm back here now with the SLS Black Series. And the crazy thing was, after this road, we reached a roadblock because there was actually a forest fire. So they had a police roadblock, there were planes dumping water over the fire, and we were here with the LT, the FF, the GT4 and Schmark's M2 all basically lined up here before we turned around to head to where we're going to go next. So it's really pretty cool to be right back on the same spot. Having come down from the hills, it is absolutely boiling where we are now beside the sea in a place I think you pronounce as Moneglia. But what's cool about this is we've driven the exact same route that we took this day 4 years ago, where we accidentally stumbled into what is going to be coming up next. Just down that away is the entrance to a single track tunnel that is about 5, 6, 7 kilometers long, where you go in and out of the tunnels, amazing views, and of course, in this car, it is going to sound insane. So that is coming up in just a moment. Before we go though, let me tell you about the third thing that I love about the SLS Black Series, and that is something you probably could have predicted was going to make its way onto this list. The Gullwing Doors, the iconic Mercedes AMG doors from the SLS as found back in the 1950s on the 300 SL. The doors that open upwards, which are both spectacularly cool, but actually quite practical. They open in the smallest of spaces. If you think about how wide from the car it actually goes, the width of another car, if you had a traditional door open that far, you'd have a tiny gap to climb through. You wouldn't really be able to do it. So they open in very small spaces. They look amazing. In fact, let me come around and open both of them up, because when they are up, it just looks like the car is going to fly away. The handles tuck back in when the car is locked, but when you have it like this, it's just awesome. I'm not sure any cars in the future are going to be able to do this. There are a couple of others, the likes of the Pagani Huayra, for example. Lots of cars with dihedral doors, Koenigsegg's have cool doors, but there's something about Gullwing doors that open up like this. They're actually still quite easy, he says. Is that going to close? Yep, perfect to climb in and out of, more so than you might expect. Of course, you do have the side sills to step over, but those have a secondary function almost. You can sit on them because they are completely flat. Then if you're feeling really brave, you can basically drive the car or maneuver it while sitting outside, just sticking one leg into the footwell, Lamborghini Countach style basically, which you can do as well in the SLS. So the Gullwing doors, awesome feature, massive sense of occasion when you open them, and drama. I think for anybody who doesn't know what the car is, they see those going up and it just stands out big time. Anyway, the tunnel is beckoning, so let's hop back on board, go drive it. Let me give you a live demo of this. Basically just sitting inside the car, of course watch on inboard so that it starts up properly. You can sit basically on here, pop it into reverse, and then you can kind of just drive and maneuver the car, which is absolutely plain cool. You can of course also get in, get belted, and technically drive the car a little bit with the door open, because it's not going to get in the way of anything. So we can pull out if safe to do so. It is looking clear. Obviously we've got the aircon absolutely blasting, but how cool is that to drive like this? Anyway, I'm going to close it down, where the door handle is acting a bit as a water bottle cup holder as well. And let's go, tunnel is ahead. What's about to happen then is certainly number 4 on the list. We're going to enter the tunnels. To do so, I will of course pop the car into manual. We're basically talking tunnel runs and exhaust noise, and if I pop the window down slightly, just to drop it down, that's second, that's first gear, the cracks, the noises, not quite sure what the guy behind us is upset about, there's nowhere to go. Wow. It's basically in and out of these tunnels. You emerge to the spectacular views out over the sea. What a place to be. Single lane tunnel. Downshift cracks. Slow speed entertainment. And then back out to the scenery. This is just awesome. Obviously, we're basically in the middle of nowhere. And having a whole lot of fun. Just for a bit of fun, if I pop the car into neutral, oh, that is epic. What a sound, the bark out of it. Obviously we've got the R1 package from Rentec with the headers, the sports cats, set up so brilliantly, and we go back out into the sunshine. Almost need to put my glasses back on, then back into the tunnels again. And we emerge out the other side. What a sound, right? Sunglasses definitely back on. Beautiful, beautiful place. This is absolutely astonishing. And the sound, I mean, what a perfect leg of the road trip to drive this scenery and straight back into another tunnel where I can't see anything again, other than the very bright light at the far end. As we're making our way out of Genova, we've just gone past up towards Milano. We're on some meandering roads, but let me tell you about the fifth thing that I'm going to put on my list of things that I love about the SLS AMG Black Series, and that is what it is like to ride in the passenger seat where I'm currently sat while we're up for the cruise, because it's a very comfortable place to be, surprisingly so actually for such a hardcore and dynamic car. That's what I really like though, this balance between a car with a decent amount of storage space at the back, seats that I personally really like, these development of the Recaro pole position bucket seats, I think they work really nicely, similar seat to the 675 LT, also to the AMG GTR of course, and the other AMG models, a seat that for me just works, it fits my shape completely fine, and some decent space generally around, you're not kind of crammed in, it's fairly comfortable, it's a decent place to be. Yes, it would be nicer if it had an upgraded infotainment or something slightly more modern, but that is always going to be a small downside to a slightly older car, so in the grand scheme of things, can't really pick it out for that. And then we've got these views while we're driving. The Italian highways, the autostradas, just have the most stunning and spectacular views wherever you go. This is a slightly slower one as the two different carriageways. I think the other one might be going through tunnels or something in the opposite direction. But we will need to stop shortly to get a fuel fill up. The car is also pretty efficient when you're driving it gently, not so when you're flat out on the Autobahn or at the Nürburgring, but on a gentle cruise it does pretty well on that front as well. So overall, as a sporty, exciting grand tourer, there isn't really much that tops this. It's why I enjoyed my AMG GTR so much, because this front mid-engine layout, rear-wheel drive can be a lot of fun when you want it to be. We are literally coming to a fuel station right now, but also when you're driving like this and just taking it easy, it's particularly comfortable on that front as well. We are arriving at a toll booth, but check this out, a Dallara on the Autostrada from Switzerland. What I was going to say is it's very clever when you have these things, because you just hold it up and it automatically beeps you through, but I never expected to see a Dallara Stradale on the Autostrada. That's really quite cool actually, look at it. The open configuration, you can have the roof canopy on the car with a gigantic rear spoiler, and as you can see we're arriving towards Milano. Oh, we've got the Mini coming through as well. Chaos coming out, and we've also got a KN right on our bumper. It's all happening at the same time. I have just realised that we're actually about 10 minutes from the Dallara factory at the moment, which would make sense as to why we have a full carbon fibre exposed carbon Dallara Stradale. Look at that thing. Pretty cool to be driving that in and amongst normal traffic on the main road. Made it to the next hotel, which doesn't quite have the incredible view that we started out with earlier on, but we do need to go and check in because there is one more place we need to head before it is too late. Something you might not be expecting, but is absolutely compulsory when you're almost a month into a road trip. Now, I was talking about this car as a practical, reliable thing to use for a trip like this. It does have a decent amount of luggage space, and with the Centurion watch, if you press and hold the big red button that actually acts to open up the boot, pops that open. Inside here you can fit the size luggage that you can take onto a plane, flight wheelie cases in from front to back. You can fit 2 of those in, and plenty of other loose things nice and easily as well. So a decent amount of stuff for being on the road quite so long. So we do need to go and check in very quickly, then come back out to the car because we need to take it over to get some laundry done. This is road trip life, searching on Google Maps for the nearest laundrette, somewhere in this case outside of Milan, to get the washing done with the SLS Black Series. Now as the sun is setting, not a normal sight, but there are only so many clothes you can actually fit into the back of a car like that. So we've got to get it done to keep us on the road, a couple of loads going, and in fact using the time efficiently to get this video edited. This is where we were in the garage for the cold start earlier on today, so I'll crack on with that in a moment while waiting for all of this to get finished, and then we'll be able to head back over to the hotel as well. But this car is an epic thing. I love it, I enjoy it so much, and today has been, I guess, a quick summary of just 5 of the things that really stand out about it. The sound of the cold start, the driving dynamics, the Gullwing Doors, the noise as we went through the tunnel with the Rentec upgrades and the downshifts, and then of course what it's like to take on a journey like this. Of course it does need a very big cleanup. I will be taking off the stickers from Supercar Owners Circle, the event of course that we attended with this and the Senna, but I think it's a gorgeous thing to look at, such a beast and incredible to drive as well. So I guess that's a bit of a summary. 5 things I love about it. There's a lot more to come though with the car. In fact, this journey still has quite a lot more to go, and it's probably not even going to be the last time that we go to the laundrette. But for today, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. That is it for this time, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!